see you. Well, hello, I didn't see you there. Welcome back to another extremely exciting episode of The Caleb Show. Ladies, gentlemen, Miss Phelan is the only one who's watching this video. Today, we have an extremely exciting topic for you. Give me 1 second. That's very nice. Today, we're gonna be talking about why horror movies suck now. So, there are a couple things we need to talk about, establish to get into this. One, horror movies used to be good. They weren't always like this. You didn't always used to go to the theater and spend $20 and then come out and hate your life. You used to go and be like, wow, that was really good and scary. And oh my gosh, that is a great logo. Horror movies used to be good. They used to be unique, creative, exciting. When you went to a horror movie, you were getting something cool and scary. But nowadays, you go in to see, what do you see now? The Purge 20? You don't get good movies anymore. So I want to talk about some of the reasons why that is and how I think we can fix it. Yeah. All right, so our first topic for today is characters. Characters in horror movies used to be good. You used to have people that acted like real people, you know, they weren't morons. You used to have characters that you could like, you could get behind. You felt bad when they got stabbed in the face. Nowadays, every horror movie has the stupidest, most poorly written characters that you absolutely hate. Like, now I'm aware, older horror movies often had like archetypes. You know, you had the jock, you had the survivor person, you had the nerd, I don't know. You had the different archetypes. Nowadays, the only archetype is not a good person and really stupid. They're all that way. Characters that just make the worst decisions or just do things people would never do. Let's take my favorite movie from 2022 so far, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. For one, we have a bunch of, you know, influencers who purchase a small town and they're like, okay, they're apparently shocked by, they purchased this desolate small Texan town and they're like, what? There's a Confederate flag in the town? No way. And then proceed to break into that person's house and force them to leave. And that person then dies. Right off the bat, you hate these people. Then you're like, well, why does she have to leave? Why can't you just take down the Confederate flag? Why can't you handle this like, you know, reasonable people? No, we just have to force her out and then she dies. Great start. Then later on, the characters go onto this bus and you have the best scene in the movie where I think Leatherface had just like killed someone and he comes onto the bus and we get the best line in cinematic history.
Try anything you can.
Let's do another example. Hold on, give me 1 second. Halloween Kills. In this film, you have a beautiful gay couple. They're home alone, they're, you know, doing some illegal substances.
I'm Michael Jordan. McDonald's restaurants have given me the kids. Stop it. Get some kids.
And they're watching a movie, I think. Suddenly their back door gets like smashed open and they go back there to look and there's like blood on the door and a bloody handprint. And they're like, okay, let's not call the police or anything or like involve authorities in any way. Let's grab the tiny little cheese knife off of our cheese and like bologna plate or whatever those things are called. I got this knife. They grab the tiny little cheese knife and are like, all right, let's go search the house after like a serial killer has been on the loose all night. It makes sense. Of course, they get brutally murdered. Obviously, it's so bad. It's great. You love these characters because they act like complete morons. If you want your audience to like your characters and care about them, you need to make them act like actual human beings and not tools to get murdered for the plot's sake, because in the end, you're gonna stop caring if everyone acts like they're in a video game and they'll respawned if they just die. It's ridiculous. You can't. Another great example of this, Paranormal Activity. We get this, you know, lovely couple, they're straight, not gay this time, who is experiencing strange things in their home. You know, weird stuff is happening, they're having issues, they think it's a ghost. So you know what they decide to do? They're like, let's film it. Let's not actually take any steps to, like, you know, maybe hire like a paranormal expert or something, or even a priest. I don't remember if they were religious or not, but no, they're like, let's just film it. Let's put cameras around the house and film it. And you know what happens to them? They die, they get killed, and they deserved it. I'm glad. All right, so our next our next idea is original ideas. There are so many of them in modern horror movies. We get lots of great original concepts. Original ideas are completely gone. There are so few. Now, do not get me wrong, there is the occasional horror movie that has a cool, unique, original idea. Shout out to Malignant or Last Night in Soho. They had cool, unique, original ideas. But 99% have the most rehashed, reused, generic idea ever. Let's take probably the biggest horror franchise in recent history, The Conjuring universe. Okay, every one of those movies is exactly the same. There is nothing unique about any of those movies. You know what happens? Except the first one. The first one was actually pretty good, not gonna lie. Like the first one. Yet again, shout out James Wan, killing it. Every single Conjuring movie is like this. Okay, so you have Sally Sue or whatever in her house, or, you know, depending on the movie, The Nun, also I think took place in a nunnery, not important. But they're like, oh my gosh, they hear a weird noise, and then they get up at night and they walk around with a flashlight or lantern, depending on the time period. And they're like, oh my gosh, and they see a spooky thing, and they're like, should I A, run away, B, run away, or C, go and touch it? And you know what they always do? They go and touch it!
Sister, please, this way. Hello?
Guess what happens? A jump scare. And then it happens 20 more times throughout the movie. Another thing, nostalgia baiting. This is a big thing with most reboots, or they're calling them requels now, whatever you want to call it, when they bring an old franchise back and, you know, revitalize it, bring it into the modern era. And they're like, okay, you know what? There's so many cool ideas we could do. We're bringing back this classic franchise. And you know what we should do? The exact same plot as the original movie, with nothing changed except it takes place in modern time and there are new characters now. Great idea, guys! Love modern Hollywood. A good example of this would be the modern Scream. So you have the original Scream, which is like, okay, we have, you know, the opening scene where someone has a phone call with Ghostface and then they get killed, and then you kind of go out and you meet the wider cast of characters, and Ghostface slowly picks off people throughout the movie, and then the end of the movie takes place at a big house party, and you find out who Ghostface is. There's two killers is the big reveal, and then they shoot Ghostface, they kill one of them and shoot the other one in the head. And you know what happens in the recent Scream? Someone gets killed in the opening scene after having a phone call with Ghostface. Then we zoom out to the wider cast, and the end of the movie takes place at a house party where there's two killers and one of them gets shot in the head. Great writing, guys, good job, you're killing it. Every reboot is like this, where it's just, let's just take the plot of the first one, but do it again and people will love it. We're geniuses, we're killing it. It's so good. It's like watching a remake, but worse. Because at least with a remake, you can like do an original thing. Like modern reboot movies are like terrified to do anything original. They're just like, oh my gosh, we just need to do the same thing over again. It's great. Another thing, there are still original ideas, but the original ideas suck. Like what good modern horror franchises do we have now? What do we got? We got Paranormal Activity, which I already spoke about. All those movies are exactly the same. They're like a bunch of people that are really stupid are like, oh my gosh, there's a ghost in our house. You know what we should do? Film it. What else do we got? We got The Purge. great. That's very realistic. It's very scary that will actually happen. Terrifying. All those movies are so boring. It's just a bunch of people shooting each other. It's not scary. What is scary about a bunch of people shooting each other at night with masks on? That's just a Call of Duty match. All right. Our next beautiful topic is suspense. So, you may be saying, oh, Caleb, suspense is not that important. I've watched lots of movies that don't have suspense and are scary. You're lying. You're not. That's not true. No, or, you don't have any idea what's actually scary. Okay, let's talk about a good example of a movie that does suspense well. Halloween. John Carpenter's original classic. That movie knows how to do suspense. It builds things up. It builds gradual tension. You don't just have every 5 seconds Michael Myers jumping out with a big loud musical sting. That's not what happens in that movie. There's genuine build-up, and the kill scenes happen when you least expect it, when you've built up all his tension from seeing him around, and he appears, and you're like, oh crap, he's there, and then right as Bob's getting beer, and you're like, oh, he can't come now, boom, he's there, and he jumps out of the closet, and he gets stabbed, and you jump, and you scream, and you cry, and movies just don't do that. They don't know how to build up a genuine scare or suspense or keep the audience engaged. You know what they do instead of that? Every 5 seconds, go, ah! And it's so boring. No one, it's like you expect it at this point. Any horror movie you go and see now, it's like you're like sitting there, something's happening, and then the character like walks into a dark hallway or something, the music gets real quiet, and all sound fades away, and you just see like a flashlight or something shining, and then boom, there's a jump scare, and it's becomes so predictable and generic. And you know what the worst thing is? The worst thing is when it all fades away and you're expecting it, and then boom, it's someone's friend, or it's a cat, or it's a bird, or it's a dog, or it's something stupid like that. And like also, nobody goes around with their friends and is like constantly like, boo, jumping at them and jumping over their shoulders. Nobody acts like that. No one. And if you do, you don't have any friends. Get your life together. What are you doing? It's so predictable, and it makes every horror movie feel exactly the same. You know what? Yet again, going back to The Conjuring, can you differentiate any of those movies? If you just showed clips from them, you'd be like, no, you can't, because they're all exactly the same. It's all the same thing over and over again. With the just, quiet, oh my gosh, and then scary ghost jumps out at the viewer, whoa. And it just shows, it's so easy to do a boring, generic jump scare. It takes no talent. Anyone can do that. But to actually create interesting suspense, it takes talent. You have to be interesting and original and have a cool idea and know how to build it up throughout the movie, rather than just being like, oh my gosh, we can just have our characters walk around at night and have big boo noises with loud music, oh my god, whoa. It makes me violently angry. It might not seem like it, but suspense is the most important key to developing a genuinely scary horror movie or a good, well-rounded horror film. And nobody does it anymore. No one gets it. Nobody gets how to genuinely do suspense. It's just jump scares, jump scares, jump scares, jump scares, or gore, gore, gore. Sometimes you get both. You get jump scares and lots of gore. That's when you know you found a real winner, brother. Now, how do we fix this? I don't know, have original ideas and be creative and don't make bad movies? Has anyone thought of that? No, they haven't, I don't think so. That's really depressing. Why doesn't she love me anymore? I don't understand. Oh, well, hello. Thank you for watching another exciting, insightful, and extremely arousing episode. See you guys next time on the Caleb Show.
Wow, nice outro. Wait, where are we gonna go?
I don't know, it doesn't matter, we can just cut to black.